What if I told you that Whitebeard's face never actually got blown up in the anime? Or that Zeph never cut off his own leg to save Sanji? Sounds crazy, right? But that's the difference between the One Piece manga and anime. From censored violence to missing tattoos, flipped off middle fingers to erased childhood scars, the anime sometimes rewrites moments that were unforgettable in the manga. Today, we're diving into the most surprising, shocking, and even bizarre changes between the manga and anime versions of One Piece. Let's talk about Whitebeard's face during the Marineford War. In the manga, Whitebeard's final stand is one of the most brutal scenes in One Piece. After tanking cannonballs, bullets, and sword strikes, half of his face is literally blown off and his skull got exposed and eye got missing. It's raw, terrifying, and shows just how much damage the old man could endure. But in the anime, they toned it way down. His injuries are still serious, but the face explosion is completely gone. No skull, no gore, just some blood and cracks. It's still dramatic, but not even close to the manga's level of intensity. This change likely came from TV restrictions, but it definitely softened one of the series' most legendary moments. Now let's go back to a much earlier arc, Sanji's childhood and the man who saved him. In the manga, when Sanji and Zeph are stranded on a rock with no food, Sanji later discovers that Zeph had given him the only sack of food, while Zeph himself had nothing. How did he survive? By cutting off his own leg and using it to stay alive. It's a disturbing, tragic moment that shows just how far Zeph went to protect the boy. But the anime tells a very different story. Especially in the 4Kids version, Zeph's leg isn't severed at all. It's just crushed in an accident. No self-mutilation, no implied survival instinct, just a clean injury from falling debris. This might seem like a small change, but it completely transforms the meaning of Zeph's sacrifice. Trafalgar Law has always had a rebellious streak. In the manga, there's a moment where he boldly sticks up his middle finger. A small gesture, but one that perfectly captures his defiant personality. In the anime, that scene is noticeably changed. His hand is either clenched or angled differently to hide the gesture altogether. These kinds of edits are common in anime to avoid offending viewers or running into broadcasting restrictions, especially in international versions. Still, the unfiltered manga version delivers a stronger impression of Law's attitude. The Wano arc is no fairy tale. It's one of the darkest, most painful parts of One Piece, showing the brutal consequences of Orochi and Kaido's rule. In the manga, there's a horrifying panel where a mother, driven mad by starvation, is shown preparing to kill her child just to put them both out of their misery. It's deeply disturbing and shows the absolute lowest point of Wano's suffering. But in the anime, this scene is completely skipped. There's some implication of famine and pain, but not that specific moment. It's just too much for a televised adaptation. Understandable? Maybe. But again, the emotional impact is lost. That one panel in the manga told us more about the suffering of Wano than 10 minutes of exposition ever could. In the manga, Ace's back tattoo was originally a manji symbol, not the skull and crossbones seen in the anime. The manji is a cross-like shape with arms that extend and bend at right angles, commonly used in Eastern cultures. It stands for good luck, peace, and spiritual power. But in the anime, this symbol was completely changed. Instead of the manji, Ace's back shows a more typical skull and crossbones design with Whitebeard's mustache. The manji looks very similar to the swastika used by Nazi Germany, even though they have very different meanings. To avoid confusion or offense, the anime replaced it with a safer, more familiar design. Sanji has been a heavy smoker since childhood. Even when he's fighting, he still has a cigarette lit. He's been smoking since he was a child as a way to prove that he's an adult, which parallels Luffy's face scar. Zeph told him to quit smoking because it would affect his sense of taste, but Sanji never has. One Piece treats Sanji's smoking the same way most other series treat smoking. When Sanji was a kid and working at the Berti restaurant, the manga clearly showed him smoking. But when this scene was adapted into the anime, the smoking was completely removed. The animators left it out due to censorship rules, especially since showing a child smoking isn't allowed on TV in many countries. So what do you think? Do you prefer the gritty, uncensored manga? Or do you enjoy the anime's more polished, toned-down approach? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video interesting, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next deep dive into the world of One Piece.